Genesis chapter 16, the birth of Ishmael. 1 Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bore him no children. She had an Egyptian maidservant named Hagar. 2 So Sarai said to Abram, "The Lord has kept me from having children. Go, sleep with my maidservant, perhaps I can build a family through her." Abram agreed to what Sarai said. 3 So after Abram had been living in Canaan 10 years, Sarai his wife took her Egyptian maidservant Hagar and gave her to her husband to be his wife. For he slept with Hagar, and she conceived. When she knew she was pregnant, she began to despise her mistress. 5 Then Sarai said to Abram, "You are responsible for the wrong I am suffering. I put my maidservant in your arms, and now that she knows she is pregnant, she despises me. May the Lord judge between you and me." 6 Your maidservant is in your hands, Abram said. Do with her whatever you think best. Then Sarai mistreated Hagar, so she fled from her. 7 The angel of the Lord found Hagar near a spring in the desert. It was the spring that is beside the road to Shur. 8 And he said, "Hagar, servant of Sarai, where have you come from, and where are you going?" "I'm running away from my mistress Sarai," she answered. 9 Then the angel of the Lord told her, "Go back to your mistress and submit to her." 10 The angel added, "I will so increase your descendants that they will be too numerous to count." 11 The angel of the Lord also said to her, "You are now with child, and you will have a son. You shall name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard of your misery." 12 He will be a wild donkey of a man. His hand will be against everyone, and everyone's hand against him. And he will live in hostility toward all his brothers. 13 She gave this name to the Lord who spoke to her, "You are the God who sees me," for she said, "I have now seen the one who sees me." 14 That is why the well was called Bir Lahai Roi, it is still there, between Kadesh and Bered. 15 So Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram gave the name Ishmael to the son she had born. 16 Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore him Ishmael.
Chapter 16 of Genesis Explanation and Understanding. Genesis 16 tells the story of Sarai's inability to bear children and her solution to this problem. She offers her Egyptian maidservant, Hagar, to her husband, Abram, in the hope of building a family. When Hagar becomes pregnant, conflicts arise between Sarai and Hagar, leading Hagar to flee into the desert. However, the angel of the Lord intervenes, instructing Hagar to return to Sarai and foretelling the birth of her son, Ishmael. Ishmael's character is described as a wild donkey of a man, and it's prophesied that he will live in hostility toward his brothers. This chapter highlights themes of human impatience in fulfilling divine promises and the consequences of taking matters into one's own hands. It also shows God's compassion and provision, as the angel of the Lord assures Hagar of his care and multiplies her descendants. The chapter's concluding verse emphasizes Hagar's acknowledgement of God as the one who sees her, naming the well Bir Lahai Roi. It sets the stage for the unfolding story of God's covenant with Abraham and the eventual birth of Isaac.